Hi, I'm Stuart. I'm Dean's other dad, and I'm going to answer a couple of your questions. So, first one here is, did I take any time off at the start of the placement? Yes, I took off about 3 weeks, and 2 weeks of that was like the formal kind of introduction type stuff, and then basically a week at home. The next question is normally, is that enough time? No, it's never enough time, but you've got to pay the bills. It's pretty difficult going back to work because obviously Rich was having to deal with a lot of adverse anger and behaviours from Dean. So a lot of my role of an evening was kind of supporting Dean, making sure that he was kind of fit and ready for the next day's brutalities, and making sure that I was spending some time with Dean as well. It's quite hard going back to work when you've got a brand new child there. I think most sort of secondary carers or fathers will find this anyway, that they you kind of feel like you're missing out on a lot of stuff. That's life, and I think the only thing you can really do is make sure that you spend as much time with your child as possible. So for Dean and I, we would go out and have like one-on-one time, make sure that we were just doing stuff, him and I, without Rich kind of there as well, because obviously Dean was attaching to Rich much more quickly, so you basically just have to kind of push yourself back in there in a slightly different way. It's probably the best way to describe that. So that was Martin and Laura's questions. Yeah, that's fine. So hopefully I've covered all of your questions there. Okay, so Cal and Gail. So how long was it before you returned to work? So about 3 weeks. And I also done a bit of a phased return as well. So I think for the first week I went in for like 2 days or 3 days or something, and then kind of built it up. Really just to kind of get used to it, kind of get my head around it, and help Dean get his head around it. So if you've got a nice employer, then that's great, and try and do that. If you can work from home sometimes as well, that's great as well. It just I think helps everyone acclimatise to the situation. Okay, how do I feel that affected Dean? I think Dean probably would have preferred us all three to stay off, and him never to go back to school, us never go back to work. But obviously that's not going to be possible. I don't think it adversely affected him. He dealt with it because he had to deal with it, and yeah, he's okay now. He's balanced now. So you get into a routine very quickly. It's one of those things that you have to just kind of crack on with and persevere through, really, and make it work, whichever way that looks like. How did I manage my feelings about Dean having more time with Richard? Initially I found that really difficult, actually, and I was kind of getting pains of jealousy, until I kind of realised that I needed to spend more time with Dean, just him and I. And then once I'd done that, actually things changed dramatically. And even to this day, if Richard's away for the weekend or kind of like really busy and tied up with work for a few days, then it's interesting to see how Dean and my relationship kind of develops and strengthens. And he'll come to me for more things. Even when Richard's back, he'll come to me as a kind of like a primary source. And yeah. Okay. Did you find a way to support him whilst at work? I'm assuming that's supporting Richard. Yeah, so I suppose that's just kind of regular phone calls, making sure he's okay, especially when he's having particularly bad days. So we had some really bad kind of like tantrums and behaviours that were kind of spilling out when Dean had first moved in. So really just kind of making sure that I was available, having a chat with Rich as and when I could during the day, making sure I come home with a big smile of an evening. Okay, that's fine. I think we've covered everything else there. Is there anything that you wish you knew then that would have helped you in your family as the non-primary carer? I don't really think so. I think you've got to work it out for yourself, and every family's different, every people different. you'll eventually get there. It may not happen overnight. It may take 6 months. It may take a year until you start feeling kind of normal and settled. Don't feel anxious about that. It takes as long as it takes. So just persevere. And that's fine. And then there's a final one here as well. It says Stuart on the top, so I'm not sure if that's a person, Stuart, or whether that's for me. Have you got any advice for the working parent? Was it hard working all day when you wanted to be helping Dean and supporting Richard? Yeah, it was. It would have been much nicer to be at home, but it is one of those things. You have to kind of make the best of it. And like I said earlier, spending more time with Dean was the way that I kind of combated that. So making sure that of a weekend or an evening, it was him and I time. So what I'd normally do is come home. Dean and I would have some playtime together. So stuff like Lego tends to be a favourite, or playing around with a bouncy ball or something like that. So just making sure there's time carved out, especially for Dean and I. And we still do that now. And yeah, probably the best time I have in my week. Cool. Have a great day, and good luck with the rest of your journeys.